And we're live. And I just talked like I was making fun of people talking. And we're live. Hey, Robbie, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm really good. How about you?
I'm doing great. I'm getting an opportunity to do a YouTube interview with, or just have a chat on YouTube with one of my favorite people on TikTok.
Man, I appreciate it. You're one of my favorite people on TikTok and YouTube. So
thank you. I appreciate that too. I never thought in a million years that I would end up on TikTok.
I didn't either.
I heard Trump talking about, yeah, it's bad. It's owned by China and this and that. But I thought about how that guy thinks, and I was like, is he using reverse psychology? Everybody that that is just going to go to TikTok, and I'm the type of guy that I want to jump into the middle of the fire and try to help red pill and just educate people that maybe need it the most, not go to where it's most comfortable. And I was like, all right, well, here we go. Here goes TikTok. Let's see, And I was pretty surprised. I thought it was going to be all women shaking their butt and just dumb fart jokes and
yeah, me too.
And I got there, and I find people like you and these other amazing creators that are like citizen investigators, citizen journalists, digital soldiers, just good people that have good information, good content. I've learned things I never knew before just from TikTok.
Same here, man. Same here. I downloaded the app probably 5 months before I used it.
Oh, okay.
And then a friend of mine who downloaded it at the same time, he was like, yo, man, I went viral. And I said, what do you mean you went viral? He said, I got like 50,000 views on a video I posted. And I'm like, what did you post? And he was like, it was just a silly video. So when he said he got 50,000 viewers, I was like, oh, heck no. I got to get on it and start talking about the things that I've been talking about for years. So
I had the same experience because I've been on YouTube for 3 years. I've been on Twitter for 3 years. Right when I had some crazy events transpire in my life, and I realized, hey, I need to start documenting this and reporting to the public what's going on. And I worked really, really hard to try to get my information out there. I have like 500 videos on YouTube. Since before I started the TikTok, I had about 7,500 subscribers and just a little bit over 1 million views on YouTube. And
that's phenomenal.
On Twitter, I have about 23,000 followers on Twitter. But I got on TikTok, and I'm talking about all the same stuff that I've been talking about for 3 years. Nothing new to me. I didn't have to do any new research. Not just get on and do a video for 1 minute. And I've had like at least over 7 million views on my videos this month.
That is insane. Yeah, your account grew fast, man.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. So it's just it's blowing up. And I'm sure I do the same thing that a lot of other people do. I get on TikTok and be like, hey, I'm gonna get on here for about a half an hour or so and see what's going on out there. 14 hours later, I'm like, I need to put this thing down. But there's so much interesting stuff on here.
I know. I had to go to TikTok rehab. I feel like
seriously, it is pretty addicting. I get when people say it's addicting, but one of my favorite things is the live streams. I love when I see your live streams come up because you just have this like soothing energy, and I've gone through some. I'm not making this all about me, but for me personally, listening to your calming voice and your positive information, just your positive outlook on things, telling people, don't have that victim mentality. Do what you got to do. It's helped me a lot, man. People pay a lot of money to go to a psychologist or a therapist or something like that. Sit on a couch and expect that person to help them feel better. And I won't do that. The situation I'm in life, it's not a good idea for me to go explain things to a psychologist or psychiatrist. That's a whole other. But yeah, listening to your live streams and being able to just comment and on what you're talking about has been really helpful, and I really appreciate it. And it's really an honor to be sitting here just chatting with you, man. It's awesome.
Man, I appreciate you every time you always, it's like when I say something on TikTok, you'll build on top of it. And it's always something that's in alignment with what I'm talking about. You take it to a next level. So I feel like in many ways we've been broadcasting live together.
Yeah, it does feel that way. It feels like a connection. So no,
Yeah,
I definitely connect with you. That's who I gravitate towards, the people I connect with.
That's it.
That not not necessarily people that I agree with 100%. Because
That's right.
There might be some things we have different perceptions or different experience or different reality, and so we just perceive things in different ways. But the people that are open-minded, like yourself, and rational, critical thinkers, you use common sense in your thinking, and when you talk about things, I like that you don't just pick a group. I was listening to one of your TikTok videos this morning, and you're like, I'm not a group guy. I don't like joining teams, and I'm the same way. I'm a good team player. I've been, I was in the military for over 14 years, and I know how to be part of a team and stuff.
That's right.
But it's tough when you do that to jump outside of the narrative that that certain team might be pushing. You might agree with them mostly, but then they do something. Hold on a second. That doesn't sound right at all. Why would we do that? They're like, well, the team's doing this. That's not me.
That's it, man. That's how I am. I just realized over the years that I'm better off as a lone wolf. But at the same time, it's kind of like this. When I realized when I was young, we used to go to different schools because we were always in a bad financial situation growing up, to where we had to move from this home to another home. And every home we moved in required that we went to a different school system.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always, every single year, I would find myself in a different school system trying to figure out how can I make friends with people. And I would go to a different school. I would see the jocks over here. Your skaters would be over here. Your gothic people would be over here. Mm-hmm. Your nerds over here. And I was like, dang, I have a little bit in common with all of these groups, but I don't want to. Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to be a part. I don't want to like just solely be a jock, solely be a nerd, solely be a skater. I realized I was a little bit of everything. So that's where it started at. Yeah,
exactly how I was in school. There's, we're talking about school and you're younger, you could literally have groups of people all standing together. They stand in their little group, like you were saying. And I would be the dude, just like if you're explaining, I'd go talk to one group for about 10 minutes and be like, all right, see you all later. I'm going to go over here and talk to this group over here. And so I was with everybody. And I was like, why do these people just stick to one? There's so many different interesting that you can, learn from all these people and experience their friendship and stuff like that. And people, why do you hang out with them? Why not? You ever going to hang out with them?
That's how I was, man. And I found out that a lot of people, like, I was just a guy that was a cool, like, everybody was, not everybody, of course, but a lot of people were cool with me. Mm-hmm. But nobody really knew me. But they knew me enough to know that I was a pretty good guy. And I was always able to remain fluid that way.
Yeah.
I remember one time I tried to force myself into a group, and it didn't take me long to realize that, man, like, what the hell are y'all doing? Like, you guys are kind of crazy. I had a guy when I was like 17 years old. I think I was about 17, 15, between 15 and 17. A friend of mine that I really thought he was a cool guy, but he had a different group of friends as well. And I remember them sitting in the living room like, yeah, we're about to go break into this school. And I'm like, that's the dumbest damn thing I've ever heard. Like I was like, I can't be a part of this group no more.
Expecting you to go along with him and testing you to see, like, is he going to just do it just because he's part of the group? Yeah.
Peer pressure, man. Peer pressure is a real deal. A lot of people have put themselves in crazy situations because of peer pressure.
That's part of the reason the world is in the position that we're in right now.
Yep, absolutely.
Because they don't think critically, they don't think for themselves and make their own decisions. They do what their team is doing, and teams get infiltrated. Psychopaths move their way up to the top, and then they start inserting their information and poisoning and corrupting the team because they know that they're in the group think kind of position, and then that group isn't doing the right thing all of a sudden.
Absolutely.
And it's divided. You were, actually I don't want to just talk about politics or anything, but it makes me think of like the people that support Trump. I know you're a Trump supporter and people give you a lot of flack about that, but that seems to be my experience with Trump supporters is that's who they are. The people that are tired of being on a team or, it is kind of a big group but it's a group of free thinkers. And
it is a group of free thinkers.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's people that don't want to be told what to do. People that want the government to be involved in their lives as little as humanly possible.
Exactly. The tired of the manipulation and the weaponized systems and the control over people. And
my fear with Trump supporters right now is that they are going to be infiltrated at some point. Somebody is some charismatic person is probably already there, and they're going to start dictating. Like I heard somebody a few days ago on live, and they're a Trump supporter. They were at the rally, and they were speaking about how if you're not out here fighting and basically being out on the streets, you're not a true American. You're not a true patriot. Yeah. And I'm thinking, okay, here's where it starts. People are going to start dictating who's a real patriot. Yeah. Peer pressuring you. No, you need to come out here and help us fight with Antifa on the ground.
Exactly.
Well, even if you look in the military, you got foot soldiers. You have your people that are in the jets. You have your people that are in the office working on the computer. Not everybody has to be on the ground as a foot soldier.
You're absolutely right.
Is the sniper more of a soldier than the person that's, receiving orders?
That being said, being out in the streets fighting against Antifa is the last thing that we want to do.
Last thing.
When you're dealing with a narcissist or a sociopath or psychopath, there's a way that you can get rid of them without fighting them. It's called gray rock. Basically, boring. And you don't get triggered by the gaslighting, the attacks that they carry out on you. You just give them no response. And imagine if Antifa's out in the streets, protesting, and they have no one to yell at, no one to fight. They're just going to be standing there going, "What do we do, guys?"
Exactly. That's exactly right.
A war and a conflict is how the elite, the people that want to see all of this happen, they want us out there fighting with each other. They want a civil war, because if we're at war with each other, we're more easily controlled and manipulative. You know what I'm trying to say. Easily manipulated.
Being out there fighting in the streets in my humble opinion, being out there fighting in the streets is equivalent to showing your ass at a funeral.
Yeah.
Like we're losing, so many people are dying right now. So many people are losing their businesses. So many people are losing their homes. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, we're out here fighting in the streets. What is that going to solve? And even if you take out the foot soldiers, it's like the old Ninja Turtle movie, right? the first Ninja Turtle movie, you would have the Ninja Turtles versus the foot soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how many foot soldiers they beat, they still had to get to Shredder, who's the leader. So you're not going to beat enough Antifa or Black Lives Matter or any of these guys. These are pawns. You got to think on the level as the people that are manipulating these people, and you got to use your mind. You got to use these tools that are available out here. You got to use these resources that we have access to not only beat them, but to just catapult yourself and your family to a new level of existence and make sure that you're secure no matter what. But doing it in the streets, in my opinion, it's just.
I agree with you 100%. That's what they want. They're reeling people in. They're baiting them into aggression and fighting. Yep. And this is more of an information war. The war isn't about guns and bombs and everything right now. That's a possibility down the road, but that's what they want. One for profit, one for division and control. But this is an information. Right. We're in a war, but it's a different type of war.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
And it's an information war for the mind, control over the mind. So if we share our experiences and share information with other people and help people ascend to a new reality. Let's see. Let me say that right.
Yeah.
We help people grow mentally, then they can grow mentally as well.
My camera is zoomed in like really far for some reason. Sorry about that.
What's that?
My camera is like zoomed in really close to my face. It moves on its own.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay. I was wondering why you did that. Okay, is there something like
It's just my camera. It has a mind of it. It's a Insta360, and it just has a mind on. I'm gonna say,
thank you, CIA.
Let's see if it changes. Hold on. Because if I move it a lot of time, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's not bothering me. If it's not bothering you,
yeah, I'm seeing my face like it's like.
yeah.
All right. But go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. But yeah, it's a non-conventional war. That General Flynn, I'm a big fan of General Flynn, and he talks about non-conventional warfare all the time, and that's what this is. It's information warfare. And going out in the streets and fighting with Antifa or BLM, it takes a lot of energy. Oh, there we go. There we go. It takes a lot of energy, and using that energy for something positive and maybe helping somebody learn something new, helping a family in need, meeting your neighbors and working with them is going to be a lot more positive in the long run than going out getting a fist fight with Antifa or BLM, in my opinion.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
that's how I feel as well. It's like, what are we doing? You know?
I'm doing my best, and that's the thing. They hate the elite. It's such a small percent that controls everything, and they cannot stand when we get along and put out positive vibes and work together and join together. They don't like this right now. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
How this is, this can all happen together. I talked to a lady in the grocery store. I talk to everybody in my community. Everyone. I just have conversations with everyone. And there was a lady walking down the aisle in the grocery store, and she had a Black Lives Matter face mask on. And they want their ideal situation would be for me to be like, hey, F Black Lives Matter, but her and I take everything as a positive opportunity. So I was walking by and I was like, Miss, hey, when you get home, do a little research on something called Act Blue. Are you familiar with what Act Blue is?
Yeah, where they're funneling the money from Black Lives Matter donations down to the Democratic Party.
Exactly. So I started explaining that to her because I'm one of the people that that understand that there are, and this is, I heard you say something about this one time, and I was like, there is racism. There's been targeted attacks on different ethnicities in different places.
Yeah.
And so, like in Los Angeles, the CIA pumped a bunch of crack into Los Angeles, into the area. A journalist that actually is from Fresno, from the same area that I'm from in California, named Gary Webb, uncovered the story, flew to, I believe it was Nicaragua, talked to some of the drug lords and stuff like that, and did this huge piece on it. I've uncovered that. And also talked to a guy named Freeway Rick Ross, who was a guy that, yeah, and he's still around, and he's still telling stories about that. So I explained to her, I go, look, I understand that Black communities have been targeted in some areas. They have the crack being pushed in, the abortion clinics, 75% of abortion clinics are in Black communities around the United States. So I get that. And there's a reason for certain Black communities to be upset that their community was targeted. So you have some aggression towards somebody, but it's hard to tell exactly who it was that targeted.
Exactly.
But George Soros, who's funding Black Lives Matter and funneling all that money through Act Blue, has not built a gymnasium, a playground, paved the road, helped somebody rebuild their house in a Black community. It's all going to Democrat politicians. So they're using your
emotional
response.
Absolutely. Emotional attachment.
And taking advantage of you to use you as a pawn to fight against each other, So that's what I was telling her that, and she was looking at me. She's like, I'm going to go home and research this. And that was my goal, I mean, I didn't go to the grocery store to meet somebody with a Black Lives Matter mask and do that, but in that conversation, that was my mission, to inform her. And instead of having her and I go separate ways, hating each other, to form kind of a bond with somebody in my community. And
I like that you said that, because I never even thought about it that way, with the CIA and things of that nature infiltrating certain communities or flooding certain communities with substances that would cause them to essentially self-destruct.
That's happening.
But I've always been of the mindset, like, you just got to be smart out here. Like, I was aware, like, going back to my childhood, I was always aware of, I never desire, and this is where I get a little radical right here. I never desire to finish school. I never desire to go to corporate America. I never desired. I knew those systems. Why is my camera doing that? That's weird, isn't it?
Well, you're talking to me on a live stream, so there might be some weird things that happen. As crazy as that sounds,
it's normal with the camera, but
okay.
I've never had
an interview go smoothly. Not one.
But I never desired to be a part of the traditional systems. I didn't want to go the route. So I started believing, the only thing I was ever sold on in this country was the concept of the American dream, that you could start off poor and that you could improve the quality of your life experience if you had a dream and if you worked for it night and day.
Absolutely.
Once I bought into that dream, I knew I didn't need traditional school systems. I didn't want to work for anybody. I didn't want to go to corporate. I didn't want to go to college, because I thought that everything else was just brainwashing me, essentially. I didn't want to know about the Boston Tea Party and things of that nature, because I felt like that wasn't going to help me in my day-to-day life. And I knew that all I had to do was not get in trouble and I'd be fine. So I made it a choice. I made a choice in my life. Like, I was involved in street gangs and stuff like that, but I was always the one that was trying to, like, we were a defensive group. Like, we were just trying to avoid trouble. And if trouble came to us, we was going to team up and defeat the people that were against us, but we were never looking for trouble. And so my whole philosophy was stay out of trouble. And I was because of my upbringing, because my father was so abusive, because we lived in such a violent living condition, it hardened me. It hardened my heart, and it made me want to be. It made me want to be aggressive, but I would only be aggressive to people that were trying to be aggressive to me. So I was a very angry kid growing up. I had to learn how to tame that over the years through meditation.
Yeah.
And but my whole premise is this: I knew the whole system was I won't say fake, because school is obviously important, but I just knew who I was and that it wasn't for me. I didn't want to go through the traditional brainwashing system. And so I was able to avoid a lot of the uh the stuff that a lot of black people talk about. Like when black people talk about racism, I experienced very little of it because I wasn't trying to go to their systems anyway. I wasn't trying to get into the school system. I wasn't trying to work for anybody, although I had jobs. But I knew this. I knew that if I worked on my personality, that people would look over my skin color. I knew that if I worked on myself and my mindset, and I put time and energy into developing a positive mindset, then my personality would be so hypnotic that my skin color wouldn't matter. And that's what I focus on. Just how can I improve the quality of my life experience? How can I take in information that's going to help me see the world and myself in a better way?
Yep.
And that's what I've been experiencing my whole life, nothing but love and
you said so many things now that I want to respond to. So one, you talked about the school system and how and indoctrination. I agree with you 1,000,000%, not 100%, but 1,000,000%. If I know that's impossible, but they are indoctrination centers, state-run indoctrination centers, and they've gotten to where they are teaching children. And I have two kids. My son's 24 years old. My daughter just turned 18. My daughter's in her senior year of school.
Dude, I thought, how old are you? I thought you was like 30, dude. What the hell?
I'm 45 years old.
That's crazy. Wow. That's amazing, man.
Thank you. You're probably like 60. What? I'm just kidding. I'm
55. No, I'm just kidding. I'm 30.
It wouldn't surprise me. But no, I've had these conversations with my kids if they're having a tough time in school and stuff like that. I'm like, it's a weird conundrum that we're in, because you have to get the grades and you have to get the diploma in order to get the job and then to go to this next thing. And, but I also understand at the same time that it's an indoctrination center. They're pumping information into you. So it's like a disinformation campaign. They'll give you like some of the truth, and then they'll give you this other crap into your brain that's not going to help you grow as a person or to help other people. And you have to filter that out and still figure out a way to get the grades and get the. I was the same way in school. I knew a lot of what they were telling me was bullshit. I would ask all these analytical questions to my teachers. I got kicked out of a college class. I didn't graduate college. I've got about 2 years of credits, mostly from the Community College of the Air Force, my training in the Air Force. That's a thing, Community College of the Air Force. But I got kicked out of a college class because I kept the professor would make a statement and it would be just this black or white statement, and there would be caveats to what he said. And I would ask him these analytical questions. And after several questions in one of the first classes, he said, "Are you going to let me teach this class? Or are you just going to ask these analytical questions all day?" And I was like, "Peace," and walked out. Yeah. So I know what you're saying, man. And I barely graduated high school. I did well in the military because it was just my way my brain operates, and I worked for the fire department. I loved my job with the fire department, and I was a journalist after that. I liked what I was doing. Schools need to change. Actually, they will be changing. There's
think so. I hope so, for sure.
Yep. So you talked about the indoctrination. And then you talk about how instead of focusing on racism, you focused on yourself and your personality. And in my personal experience, I've experienced racism in every ethnicity. A lot of people that's one of the narratives they want to create, is that
it only comes from white people.
Are the only ones that can be racist.
Yeah.
Everybody. And the reality is racism exists, but it's a very, 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 very small percentage of society.
Exactly. Racism has no power today. Like race, it is the weakest form of control that exists today.
Yeah. Yeah.
A racist person is a weak person, is an ignorant person, and racist, and they can be all colors.
Oh, they are. Yeah, and I've seen it. I've seen it from white people. I've seen it from people. I got it on video with a Latina lady that was a high school teacher. I don't know if you saw that video. I did. YouTube or TikTok removed it actually for bullying and harassment.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, go back to my videos. There was so I go through something called organized stalking and harassment, where people will literally follow me through town and meet me at certain places and harass me. You'd have to do some research on it to even to understand. Yeah, I'm what's called a targeted individual, and I go through some things that sound crazy and delusional until you do the research and try to disprove what I'm saying. So anyway, long story short, this lady was gang stalking me, called gang stalking. And they were trying to trigger me and get me into a fight so I would get arrested. But she called me a white piece of shit, and I was like, wow, that's racist. And she was like, yeah, exactly, you're a white piece of shit. And so I got that on camera. But in my experience, that's 0.01% of people, and most of us don't think like that at all. So it's and like you said, racism is it's the people that use it to race bait and to cause division. They've overplayed their hand. Yep. They've done it so much that people just go like, I don't know if
The only way somebody can stop me is if they put me away. And I'm talking about, you got to put me in the ground, or you got to put me in the cell. You cannot stop me by taking resources away from me. You can't stop me by calling me names. You can't stop me by stalking me. You can't stop me. The only way you can stop me and to stop me from dreaming and believing in myself and making my situation better, you got to take me out. That's how I am. Like, I'm from the streets. You got to take me out to stop me. And you're going to have a hard time trying to take me out because I'm well connected.
I like that about you.
It's going to be a hard time, though. Very hard time.
I like your strong will. We got to have a strong will and some fortitude, some integrity, some love for yourself to push forward and not be affected by these people. That's it. That's actually one of the things that they've tried. No, both of those, what you just described, they tried to do that with me. I fought a hard fight. They've tried to kill me several times. Just about a little over 2 months ago, somebody shot out my back sliding glass door with a 9mm. Bullet was in the middle of my kitchen.
Yo, I got a team that moves like the CIA. We'll talk off camera about that.
Awesome.
Make sure
nothing I say is private. So I mean, it might be. So yeah, everything that I say 24/7 is heard. I don't even want to go down that. The people want to know more about that about me, and just go to my other videos on my YouTube channel and stuff like that. But it's pretty out of control. But the other thing that they've tried to do is lock me up. So there was a police officer. And now, before I say this, I always have to reiterate, I am not anti-police in any way, shape, or form. I'm pro-constitutional peace officer, but I'm aware and have experienced personally corrupt police officers who are not constitutional peace officers. They're enforcement agents. that use their job and their badge for power and control. So there's a split in the police department too. So that being said, there was a police officer that was taking part in this organized stalking and harassment. And instead of being intimidated or triggered, whatever, I just got my camera out and I started asking her questions. I interviewed her, just like I did when I was in the Air Force. I used to interview congressmen, senators, and generals and stuff like that. So I got my camera out and started asking her questions about what I was going through and asked her if she would help me. And long story short, I uploaded that video, and 3 weeks later, I was set up and arrested for aggravated assault with a firearm.
Wow.
Guy pulled a gun on me, followed me to my house where my kids were sleeping, chased me through the neighborhood. When I got to the other side of the neighborhood, cops were waiting. I got arrested. They let the guy stand outside of the vehicle and laugh at me. And I was like, I have him on video pulling a gun out of his window. Can you please look at this video? And so long story short, I spent 1 year and 8 months in court, ankle monitor on, fighting through a kangaroo court, corrupt judge, corrupt prosecuting attorney. They denied me exculpatory evidence, or what they call Brady evidence, and they've been really pushing. And now they want to give me a psychological evaluation. The judge lied to me and told me that I would not have to submit to a psychological evaluation. And then when I was in court, they forced me to sign a plea deal. Basically, I had no other choice. I made it 2 years of court. Got to the point where the judge said, "There's no other option. I'm not allowing you to go to trial. This is your only option. Sign this plea deal." I said, "Well, before I sign this, I'm going to read that because I'm not going to submit to a psychological evaluation because they'll use that as a weapon. If I'm evaluated as delusional or schizophrenic, then nothing that I say from that point on is valid in court. So that's the only way that they can stop me, is to try to say I'm crazy, even though I've proved beyond the shadow of a doubt what I've experienced and everything." So they're still going at it, but I know what I'm doing is the right thing. I know I'm right. I've proved it beyond the shadow of a doubt. So I'm not gonna give up, and I know I'm gonna win this thing in the long run.
Yeah, and the way I look at things is, I used to feel like I had to tell people everything. Like I would try to, if I saw something that was a little different, I would try to convince people and encourage people to see it too. But now I'm just so peaceful inside of myself that I live in my own internal world. I'm not really bothered by the external world at all.
Yeah.
I'm at peace with myself. I'm at peace with my family. I'm at peace with life. And that's the only thing I focus on because it's the only thing I can control. And I'm a big practitioner of law of attraction. I believe in putting out those good vibes and in literally molding your personal reality. The way I feel is I guard my mind so much that negativity can't come into my reality. People try to penetrate my reality with negativity just on the internet, but they cannot get into my reality because I have a wall of positivity that is blocking any negativity that comes to my way. And the world will try to convince you to believe that that's not a real thing. I don't bother explaining. I don't bother debating. I know that these positive vibes that I continue to put out, and most importantly, radiate on the inside, I know those positive vibes, my solid mindset on positivity, my undeniable attention to what really, really matters internally is what's blocking that negativity from coming into my life. So I believe that if you're not mindful, even of the people you communicate with, of the people that walk into your home, those people, just like with the coronavirus, they can transfer the virus to you. People can also transfer negativity to you and bad luck to you as well. So
energy vampires.
Energy vampire. So I'm very mindful of who I allow to come into my home, who I allow to know where I stay, who I interact with, not because I'm paranoid, but because I've worked very hard to get my life frequency to the point that it is right now. And I'm not going to allow any negativity to come in my way. So it's all about that for me. I believe if you guard your mind and you guard your heart, you guard your energy, man, nothing can penetrate you, bro. You can move mountains with your mind.
There's a
You can
big
move,
difference between paranoia and vigilance, and being
yeah,
vigilant.
absolutely.
It's
Being very vigilant.
and
Yes,
you're talking
absolutely.
about manifesting your own reality. And
Yeah,
a few years
absolutely.
ago, if somebody would have told me that, I'd be like, "You are out of your mind."
Yeah.
The more I learn about the spiritual world and
Well,
energy,
I start looking at it like this, right? I like doctors, I like scientists, I like pastors, I like all those people who specialize in their field. But as a man that always resides in the middle, I see where a lot of those guys are on point, and I also see where a lot of those guys are missing the mark.
yep,
They're so stuck in their field of study that they can only see things through that particular lens.
their indoctrinated reality.
Absolutely.
If they get any
So,
outside information, they're like, "Oh, no, that doesn't exist."
but I'm of the mindset that these guys all hold a piece of the truth. And the way I look at it, when I think about the reality, you think about this. Let's say you took a mushroom right now. If you took a mushroom, your mind will take you to a world and reveal things that may or may not exist in front of you right now, because that mushroom served as a permission slip for your consciousness to slip into a different version of reality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. People with dementia, people who hallucinate, people who, even when we go to sleep and we dream, our mind enters a version of reality that it absolutely believes to be true. And so what that shows me is that whatever my mind believes in, that's what I'm going to see. That's the world that I'm going to live in, regardless of the world the external world is trying to get me to believe in. So for instance, with my grandmother, before my grandmother passed away, she started experiencing dementia and all kind of stuff. She started to see people that we didn't see. She started to think that the television was talking to her, all kind of stuff. And the more and more we tried to tell our grandmother that that wasn't a reality, the more she dug into it and believed hardcore that she was seeing things. Well, that's how I am now. I don't buy into anybody's version of reality but my own. I'm stubborn in that way, because I don't believe that somebody else has a better intention for my life than I do. Nobody is going to love me and care for my well-being like I am. So I don't rely on the government. I don't rely on doctors. I don't rely unless I have to. You know, I almost ripped my fingers off a year ago in an ATV accident. I had to rely on a doctor with that. That was absolutely necessity. But other than that, I don't rely on the government to take care of me or doctors.
You have something that a lot of people haven't, we'll just say, mastered, that they haven't figured out how to do yet, and that's to love themselves.
Yeah.
They want somebody else to love them and to do things for them, and you're what some would call an empowered individual. You're empowered, but your self-love, you love yourself, and that's a hard thing to do, because before you let anybody else love you, you have to love yourself. And some people will think, well, that's weird, love yourself, but you have to love yourself in order to get to the place that you need to be to. God, some of this is so hard to explain sometimes. But yeah, you're an empowered individual. You care about yourself, and you have to. More people need to do that. More people need to love themselves. That doesn't mean not care about other people, but to start.
I don't trust psychiatrists. You know, psychiatrists, they told people that they made narcissism appear to be a bad thing back in the day, and I get it. Narcissism at its best are very hard people to deal with, but they made it basically a mental dis-ease to love yourself, in my opinion. And so much of the world has been set up to make it not okay for you to love yourself. There's always got to be something wrong with you. You always got to love other people more than you love yourself. And it's created all of the chaos that we have in this world right now. If we generated more people who love themselves wholeheartedly, Michael, this is the cool part about it. So I love myself wholeheartedly. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. So therefore, Michael, I can interact with you in a way that doesn't require me to need anything from you. Like, I don't need anything from you. I don't need anything from the world, right? And so I can interact with you in a neutral way without any alternative motive or what is it? Ulterior motive. Yeah, I don't have any ulterior motive. This is just a conversation, and I can have this conversation, right? Yeah, they need you for emotional support, financial support. They're trying to use you in this kind of way. There's not many people I've come across when I look out at the world that operate in that way. I genuinely don't have any other reason to talk to people other than just to talk to them.
Yeah, and to interact and share ideas and learn something new and build on yourself. Yes. What you said is pretty profound. That, like psychiatry, it's one of the, I talk about weaponized systems daily. And John F. Kennedy talked about infiltration and how our society was broken down by infiltration. And that's one of the, quote, professions that's been infiltrated. And everything has been infiltrated to some degree. So they've weaponized psychology and psychiatry to degrade society instead of lift us up. So they, like you said, they will make everything a disorder or disease when it's just a personality trait that's a positive thing for you.
Exactly.
And if you are a multifaceted person, if you have not different personalities, but if you're just a well-rounded person and you have a bunch of different likes and dislikes, and you think one way about a certain thing and another way about a certain thing, they'll say you have multiple personality disorder when you're just a well-rounded person. And
absolutely.
They'll try to make your life experience and your
it's why so many of them are like monotone when they talk. They're just like,
Yep.
They're trying to hold on to that one personality that they have.
Yeah.
Man, I have a bunch of personalities, and I love that.
And that's a positive thing because you can interact with all kinds of different people. And it's not, I mean, it's not even multiple personalities. That's just the can that they want to put that in. It's just being a diverse person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can identify with different groups of people. Like we go back to what we were talking about school. You can talk to the jocks. You can talk to the nerds. You can talk to the, the different groups, and you can identify with all those people. But they want to use that as some kind of disease. You have a disease.
Exactly.
And that's furthest from the truth.
Absolutely. This is the weirdest thing that's going on right now. Like with this whole vaccine, this whole coronavirus situation. In my humble opinion, I'm even wearing the virus shirt right now. So in my humble opinion, this is a way, in my humble opinion, it seems like the medical industry was starting to lose its grip on humanity.
Yep.
We needed a new disease to come out and scare the hell out of people and get them to usher into our hospitals. And so I'm not saying that's the case, but from my humble opinion, I don't go to hospitals. I don't go to doctors. I don't go to the doctor every month. I'm like, hey, I think something's wrong with me. Can you figure out what's wrong? I know people who go to the doctor every single month. I'm not talking about people who are terminally ill and things of that nature. Yep. I'm talking about people who are just overly concerned about how they're doing. Like they go to check their cholesterol, they go to do this, and it's like maybe you're thinking that maybe your thought process is flawed, which is why you have to keep going to the doctor all the time. When I almost ripped my fingers off with an ATV accident, they came to me. They said, "Mr. Cornelius, we don't have any medical records on you."
Yeah, that's right.
And I said, yeah, and they said, "Why not?" And I said, "Because I've never been sick." And they said, what do you mean you don't come to do checkups? I say, why would I do that? When it's time for me to die, I just die. Like
Yeah.
I'm a real man, I'm a real human. I'm not saying if I feel like I'm about to pass away or something like that, yeah, I'll go. But what I'm saying is this. I know people who are addicted to doctors, people who are addicted to lawyers, people who are addicted to police or whatever. People are addicted to having other people come in and tell them what to do with their life. And I've never been like that. I'm not saying my way is the right way. I'm just saying that I'm a free man. I'm a free-minded man, a free-minded human living on this planet. And it boggles my mind. My wife is like that too. She's a free person. My kids are free people. In the sense that we don't overly rely on the system. It's just weird when we see people relying on the system so much. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell are y'all doing?
I agree with you. I'm the same way, 100%. There's no need to go. Why go? Because they're going to eventually find something wrong with you. They're going to say, well, this big pharma representative came in and said, if we issue this many units of blah, 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 then I get to go on this cruise. So let's maybe find something wrong with some different people, and I can go on that paid vacation.
And have you noticed too, like, I know people that's like, yo, I started taking this because of my depression. I'm like, man, are you really depressed or are you just freaking sad? Like, do you know sadness is a real emotion? Like, you're not depressed, you're sad. And that's okay.
Turning you into the person that you need to be, because you're going through that situation that's teaching you something. And two, depression, sadness, there's a root cause for that. There's a reason why you ended up in that situation. And they never want to focus on the root cause. They want to give you a neuroinhibitor, which, our brain has these neurotransmitters, and they fire electric signals back and forth. And they're and instead of saying, well, let's go back to the root cause of why you feel the way you feel, they go, let's give you this pill, and that's going to put a metal barrier between those neuroreceptors, and you just won't feel it anymore. And all of that stuff that built up to get you into that state of mind, it's all still underneath the layers.
And are they curing anything these days? Like, when you go to the doctor these days, do they cure anything?
No, because
it's all about just treating stuff.
There's no profit in cures.
I know.
There's no profit in cures. And we've been shown that basically over and over by people that have actually cured things and them meeting an early demise, like Dr. Sebi. Are you familiar with Dr. Sebi? SEBI?
Yep, I am.
People with cancer, AIDS, took him in front of Congress. 99 people took him in front of Congress, testified and said, Dr. Sebi cured me. He talked about how it's about inflammation and mucus in the body, and to get rid of that. He met an early demise right after that. Nipsey Hussle wanted to carry forth what he was doing. Same thing happened to him. So if they really cared about cures and helping people, then they would fund people like that and help them build and help them continue to cure people instead of taking them out.
I'm not against the government, but I'm of the mindset the government doesn't care about me. It's like, it's just simple. Like, they don't care about me. They don't care about people.
There are in the government, and I worked in the government for almost 15 years. There are white hats and black hats, good guys and bad guys. So there are people in the government that do care about you. And I was one of them. I worked in the government. I genuinely cared about people. I cared about my oath to the Constitution and the citizens of our country.
I like that.
There are people that do not understand that they are public servants and that their job is to sacrifice their time and effort for other people. Then there are the people in the government that think that their job in the government is to control, manipulate, and manage people to keep them under control and use them as profit. So there's a battle. There's a battle between good and evil in the government. And that's a lot of what we're seeing right now. When you hear the deep state, the deep state are the people that are using these weaponized systems for power, control, manipulation. And the white hats basically are the ones that are trying to get rid of them and turn our government, decrease the size of our government and the reach that these weaponized systems have, and bring it back to give the power to the people. And it's tough. It's an uphill battle because it's not an even playing field. So hold up, my computer just said that the battery's about to die. I need to go grab my charger.
Do your thing. Do your thing.
So we're gonna take like a 30-second, 1-minute break. And sorry, everybody. Ask us some comments in the thread here. I hate to do this in the middle of a live stream, but
you're good.
Like that. Okay.
I'm going to entertain TikTok here.
Hey,
what's up?
Awesome.
Hey, TikTok. Hey, Kim. Let's see here. Hold up. How do I do this? Okay, here we go. What's up, TikTok? I hope y'all are enjoying the conversation that we're having. I'm enjoying it. This is an awesome conversation. Hello. This is an awesome conversation I'm having with Michael today. I see a lot of YouTube comments. Look at all these YouTube comments we got right here. Hold on. A lot of comments on YouTube. But we're live streaming on YouTube as well. My whole message is just control yourself and free the world. Control yourself, free the world. Don't get in trouble and you're going to be fine. It's real simple. And control the things that you can control. Let go of the things that you can't control. Sorry, I feel like I have to burp.
I think he got on a little bit late, but he's going to do this.
Let's see. Let me make sure. There we go. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure that hold on, guys.
All right, I'm back. Sorry, that was pretty unprofessional, right? Take a bathroom break, get some coffee in the middle of a live stream.
Man, I'm just mad that you didn't bring me any coffee.
Here you go. Here, grab this.
You got some? All right. There you go. Oh, hey, watch this. Do it again. Do it again. All right, watch this. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. That's awesome. There was this old Hank Williams Jr. song called "Fax Me a Beer."
Fax me a beer.
Yep. One of these days, might be able to do something like that. So
maybe. I do want to clarify. Like, somebody said on YouTube here they're trying to shut down free thinkers. It's just simple for me. It's like just be peaceful inside of yourself, control yourself, respect other people. And I love what you said, because I just said something that I never say. I said the government doesn't care about me. And you was like, well, there are people in the government that do care about you. And I love that you clarified that, because I'm usually of the mindset that there is good and bad in everything, And I love that you brought that up, Michael. That's amazing.
It's just, what I've experienced personally, what I've seen. I saw the different sides when I worked in the military. And, I worked with a lot of public services too, state, local police, local fire departments.
I love police. I have an unbiased, I won't say unbiased because I know there are good and bad police, but I support police. The concept of police officer, I support that 1,000%. I believe there.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. You're good.
Talk about this almost more than anything else. The difference between a constitutional peace officer and an enforcement agent. And there are different departments around the United States, around the world, that operate differently. And the constitutional peace officers would be like the white hats, the ones that are genuinely serving the community, looking out for your best interests, not trying to violate your constitutional rights. And then the enforcement agents are the ones that are using the law to manipulate people and to fill private prisons and to get more federal funding to just grow their department and to stay in control and power. And there's a battle between those guys. And there's a lot of police officers that I support fully, and there's some that I'm like, man, those guys need to get rid of those guys. So that's a good segue to George Soros, as a matter of fact. You did a video recently about George Soros, a documentary that you watched. I was on one of your live streams and you had played the George Soros documentary. So I talk about him a lot because he is all about divide and conquer. Now we know that he funds Antifa and BLM, which are domestic terrorist hate groups, basically. They want to cause division and terror. And a lot of people don't realize that he's also infiltrated factions of our government and police officials. So right here in Maricopa County, Arizona, where I live, he paid millions of dollars to get a guy named Paul Penzone elected as the sheriff. Also funded the election for the district attorney. He did the same thing in Philadelphia, funded to get the sheriff there elected. And I'm not supposed to talk about the ELECTION, but that sheriff in Philadelphia refused to respond to enforce certain things during that situation. And it's because Soros is funding both sides. So when they fund both sides and they're fighting against each other, he's getting that divide and conquer, and people aren't working together. And so there are certain police entities that are on the same team as Antifa, as much as they want to present to the public that Antifa's anti-cop and all the cops are anti-Antifa. Some of them are just playing a street theater skit to keep us all occupied. And I know sorry, go ahead.
I had a cop come at me on TikTok because I came out as because I hate to use the terminology Trump supporter. Mm-hmm. I voted for Donald J. Trump, and I had a black police officer like, yo, you're a sellout, all kind of stuff. And I'm like, dude, you're a police officer. What are you talking about?
Yep.
I had to block.
There are that it goes right along with what I was talking about. So let's see, this goes pretty deep. How can I tell you and everybody this in the shortest period of time? There have been these weaponized systems that I've been talking about. Systems put into place into our government that are weaponized systems that have occurred already in history. So what's going on here in the United States right now has already occurred in World War II Germany with the brown shirts. They would call them. They were community policing type of people. They wanted to defund police and use a community policing type of thing, which they used the brown shirts to attack dissidents. So the same thing happened again in East Germany, communist East Germany. They had what were called the Stasi secret police. And the Stasi secret police basically went after the free thinkers, the empowered individuals, the people that didn't want to be part of the machine or the totalitarian dictatorship. They just wanted to be like us. Like I hate to use the word Trump supporter too. I support Trump. I love Donald Trump, but I'm my own man. I'm my own
person. Exactly.
I just happen to understand and agree with most of what they're doing.
Exactly.
And that is ending this Stasi type policing system here in the United States. So, man, this is such a long, we could do a whole show on this. So I'll just, okay. So the socialist / communist infiltrators of our government that wanted to take away the constitutional republic that we have of free men in the United States. It's been going on for a long time, but 9/11 was a big catalyst. It was a problem, reaction, solution paradigm. They created the problem. They had a mass visceral reaction from the public, and they said, well, we've got the solution. and that is the Patriot Act. And then they took away our rights to privacy, started collecting mass data on everyone.
Yep.
Right. So they have information on everyone. No phone call that you make is private. No email. Nothing is private. And all that's collected in the mass data collection in 2 mass data collection centers, one at Fort Meade, Maryland, one in Salt Lake City, Utah. After that was done, they created what are called they created the Department of Homeland Security. The Department of Homeland Security, when it was created, they consulted the second guy in charge of the Stasi secret police from Germany. His name was Marcus Wolf. They also consulted a guy named Yevgeny Primakov, who was a KGB officer. So both of those were high up people in a communist government. So why in a constitutional republic would they consult those 2 people when creating our Department of Homeland Security? After that, they created what are called fusion centers. Fusion centers are centers that disseminate information out to compartmentalized groups that stalk and harass certain targeted individuals in society that have been put on some kind of list, and they use that information to destroy the target's life. In Germany, they called it Zersetzung, and Zersetzung means decomposition. So they attack covertly each aspect of your life, your finances, your reputation, your relationship. They blacklist you from getting work. It's a covert takedown, basically. So that literally happened in Stasi Germany. There are survivors of the Stasi secret police, and they have files. There's a museum in Germany with all of those people's files that the person that was targeted can go open up their file and see every bit of information that was collected on them to destroy their life. So that literally is happening here in the United States. I don't even know why I started going down that path, why I started talking about it. So, but that's what's happened to me. There's a lot more to that story. People need to research that and look at DHS, fusion centers, FBI, InfraGard, their weaponized systems because somebody said they're trying to stop free thinkers. This is one of their ways to infiltrate and try to silence free thinkers. And not all of the free thinkers or the empowered individuals ended up on one of these lists where they try to stifle your communications or your outreach. Some people didn't get identified or, whatever the case may be. But that is happening. It's proven beyond the shadow of a doubt. It's hidden in the FISA court, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act court. It's an unconstitutional court. There's no due process. Somebody can report you to this court. Certain people that are connected goes through. You don't know what you've been accused of. You aren't allowed to defend yourself in court. It's all secret. All you know is some things start going really weird in your life, and you don't know what's going on. And then you start researching, and you figure out, oh, well, they have the DHS, FISA court, and I tracked it all the way up to the top. Not many people have done that, and I'm not trying to be arrogant or pat myself on the back, but I figured out their whole program. So I believe that President Trump was actually targeted through the FISA court as well. President Trump, General Flynn, through FISA Section 702, which is supposed to be used against foreign enemies, and they used it against American citizens. There was a guy named Philip Haney. He was a Department of Homeland Security officer, actually, investigator. And he saw that this had happened in 2013. Watch listing guidance was updated in Department of Justice, and they took a bunch of actual terrorists, people that had links to terrorist organizations, off of these Department of Homeland Security lists and put patriotic, nationalistic, free-thinking, empowered individuals, citizen journalists, truthers, basically, on these lists to target them. And we've lived through some really crazy things. I'll just end that at that. So because I wanted to answer in the shortest period of time how some free thinkers are being sought after and they're trying to silence them. And that's basically the system that was created to do that. And that's what I've been documenting and reporting on and trying to get the word out to people that, we do have weaponized systems. That FISA court, and actually President Trump has been talking about, we've got the vaccine for the virus and it's through Pfizer. but he didn't say Pfizer. He said FISA 3 times. So as far as the virus goes, I think the virus is a total hoax. I think it's for social engineering to keep people. I know you said you had COVID.
Mm-hmm.
You got really sick. I believe you got sick, but I don't necessarily think that it was COVID. You might have got really sick, and we could disagree, and I might be wrong.
Yeah.
You might have got COVID. But still, that being said, I think it's something that has been used for social engineering to keep us all in control. And the real virus is the FISA court and this targeting of citizens and this network that they've created to destroy our society. So when that FISA court gets declassified, and I think it will very, very soon, President Trump kind of speaks in code, not kind of, he speaks in code. He says things right in front of people's faces that they don't.
He does. Yeah, that's what I
don't.
started picking up about him as well.
Yeah, he definitely speaks in code, and I'm pretty damn sure that he's letting us know that there will be a declassification of the FISA court soon, and a lot of this information, exactly what I'm telling you right now on our live stream, will come to light, and people will understand what actually happened and how deep a lot of this corruption goes. So.
I watched Trump card a few days last night, actually. Trump card. Have you seen that?
Yep. Dinesh D'Souza.
Yeah, Dinesh. Yep.
He's a great guy. He got targeted.
Yeah, he did. I saw that, man.
Yep. He's awesome. Wow. So that's a good one to watch. The plot against the president. Have you seen that one?
I have not.
Is that what it's called, Andrea? The plot against. Okay, it's called The Plot Against the President. Highly recommend you watch that documentary, and everybody else is watching, watch that documentary. And it shows the steps that talk about the FISA court. It shows the steps that I was just talking about that were implemented into our governmental systems and into our society to tear us all down and to target certain people. Now, the most recent one that I watched, and I'm sorry, I'm rambling on here, man. I'm not trying to just get this thing over, but I get kind of passionate about this, and there's so much information. Probably the best documentary that I've seen to date is called 1,000 Pieces. And it was just released. You can only find it on Vimeo. It's not cheap. It's like $17 and you can only buy it. You can't even rent it.
Oh, I just saw John D'Souza posted a discount code on Twitter.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yes.
There's a discount.
What's it called again?
It's called 1,000 Pieces. So when John F. Kennedy said, I want to take the CIA and tear them into 1,000 pieces and put them into the wind so they don't exist again. That's basically what this is about. And there's a former CIA agent named Robert David Steele that talks in it. My friend, John D'Souza, he's a former FBI agent, 25-year FBI special agent. You know that show, The X-Files?
I do know about X-Files.
Okay. That show, they added a few things in for TV to make it more interesting for people. But there was an actual FBI agent that worked on The X-Files. And I saw your
video about that.
His name is John D'Souza. He lives in Tucson, Arizona. And he is what we would call a white hat in this whole thing. He's for the people, not anti-government, but anti-corrupt government. He's in this documentary, 1,000 Pieces. An MK Ultra survivor named Kathy O'Brien. I'm not sure if you're familiar with MK Ultra. It's a big study.
I know about MK Ultra, but not Kathy O'Brien.
Yes, Kathy O'Brien is definitely somebody to look up. She's got YouTube videos. She's a survivor of MK Ultra. She's on this documentary. General Flynn's brother is interviewed on the documentary. But yeah, actually, I talked to John last night, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
And asked him if he would do an interview with me. So he'll probably be my next interview. So I'm interviewing you, and then I'm going to interview the guy that they wrote the X-Files about. So I hope you feel good about that, because you guys are right on the same level with me.
That's phenomenal.
I appreciate it. Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, that's I'm rambling, man. I'm rambling. I'm talking about all kinds
You're
of
fine, bro. This is information that is really, really new to me. I started out with the George Soros documentary,
Mhm.
Billionaire Radical, and or Radical Bill, whatever it's called. I
Yeah.
started out with that. I watched Trump Card last night. I watched The Fall of Kebab.
Yep.
I watched a few of those things, but I'm learning. It's kind of like part of me stayed away from this type of information throughout the years.
Uh-huh.
I didn't want to bring that type of vibe into my spirit, right? But years ago, I read 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene.
Mhm.
And I had that book in my possession for about 2 years before I decided to dive into it, because the book, in my opinion, is it can be kind of dark. And I didn't know if I wanted that information to come into my mind. And so I read that book, and I realized that I needed to know these things, because although I'm of the light, there are people that are not of the light, and they are using certain tactics to manipulate. And so that's how I feel about the information that you just told me. Like, I need to know about these things. So I'm going to definitely watch 1,000 Pieces. Actually, while I'm working, when I get off, I'm going to order it on Vimeo.
Okay. What did you say? You posted
I
it?
put the discount code in the comments for 20%.
Okay. Andrea just put the discount code for that documentary in the comments here. On YouTube or on
the YouTube
on the YouTube
live chat.
on the
It's
YouTube
the
live
D'Souza
chat?
gift.
Okay.
Let's see.
Discount is D'Souza gift.
Where is that? I didn't see it. Oh, okay. Got it. I got it.
Andrea, right there. Yep. So there's the discount, and you won't have to pay as much for it. But it's the best documentary I've seen, and I've watched a lot of them. Another one that might be good for you to watch is one called Out of Shadows.
I've seen Out of Shadows.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. I seen that one. That was good too.
Yep. Right on. And I agree with you 100%. There's so much dark, evil stuff that we don't want in our minds. It would be better to just live without that. But so
You need to know about it.
in football, I always use this analogy. We used to watch game films of the other team before we played the other team, because we wanted to know how they operated and how they thought, and be prepared for what they were going to do to try to beat us. And that's the exact same thing. You're not trying to absorb that energy. You're not trying to go there and learn how to be like those people. You're watching the game film to try to be able to win this spiritual battle that we're living through. And it gets tough sometimes. I have to take a break.
Let me ask you this. Are you a religious man?
I wouldn't call myself religious. I'm spiritual. I pray every day and I meditate. But when I pray, and this is where a lot of the groups will go, oh, well, he's not on our team. When I pray,
Me too.
I don't particularly know who I'm praying to. I pray to the positive, whoever's looking down on me, whatever the benevolent spirit is. It could be Jesus. It could be, I don't know. And I'm not, I'm going to piss people off here saying this. I don't care. I'm not arrogant enough to say that I know beyond the shadow of a doubt who God is.
That's how I feel, brother.
I don't know. I know that there's good and there's evil, and that there's something powerful that we can look to. But I don't know what that is. So I'm just positive, and I pray, and I say, hey, whoever's listening to this, other than the CIA, please look out for humanity in general. Please enlighten people and help them understand the coma that they've been put in. Help them awaken and work together and become better people and love each other. Things like that. And that's how I pray. And so to answer your question, yeah, that's how I am. I don't subscribe to one religion or
That's
the
how
other.
I am too.
Yeah, I kind of picked that up from
Indeed,
listening.
yeah, I'm not. I just can't. I can't like I said about not joining groups. I can't join a group. I'm if when I pass away, and if when I pass away, hopefully as a very, very old man after living a very abundant life, um, and if God's there and He say, why didn't you subscribe to this way of thinking? I'm gonna say, well, because you gave me a mind, and I'm gonna explain myself. I'm gonna say, you know my mind and you know my heart. I thought you were bigger than that. I thought you were bigger than this
Yeah,
one way of thinking. You created the entire universe. Like, what the heck?
I literally say that while I'm praying, because sometimes I'll be
Yeah,
like, I'm
that's
sorry
what,
if I'm not 100% positive about all this, but you gave me this brain to process all this information, and that's how my
exactly.
brain works. So basically, it's your fault.
I'm like,
that's how my brain operates.
I honor all of it. That's how I honor you. Like, I honor all of it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just, when I pray, I pray to my brain. I pray to my consciousness. Whatever has me turned on, that's what I'm praying to. Whatever that is, I pray to my brain. I pray to my heart. I pray to my consciousness. This life force that has me turned on.
Yep.
That's how. I don't let nobody try to make me feel bad about it. Like, you could tell me all day long that I need to do it this way, but
When
this is
somebody starts trying to shame you into
Yeah.
joining their brand or their flavor or their version of whatever it is that they subscribe to, that's a big red flag anyway.
Big red
Like,
flag. I had a guy. I was in the woods. I like that. I'm not gonna say what I like to do because, but I like to.
I'm with you.
I like to go to a certain place out in the world, in nature, and I came across a guy out in the woods, and he was like, hey, can I ask you a question? And I said, yeah. He said, I want to talk to you about this guy, and I was like, okay, cool. And he says, his name is Jesus, and I'm like, oh, okay. I thought he was talking about some guy that he might have saw in the woods or something.
Yeah.
He says, are you a Christian? I said, no. And he says, oh, why not? We just had this conversation, and I basically told him my relationship with what has me turned on is personal, and it doesn't require that I put a label on it.
Yep.
And I said, I live as if I like Christ. I live as if Christ is operating through me. I said, but that doesn't mean that I have to say that I'm a Christian or I'm a this or I'm a that. I said, this world is too obsessed with labels. This world wants you to people are robots, and they want you to regurgitate what they think you should believe in. They want to hear you say those words. And I'm not going to say that word. I'm not saying no words that anybody wants me to say. I'm my own man. I have my own connection.
Yep.
And he says, but you're not going to get into heaven like that. I said, dude, how do you know? He says, the Bible says, I said, dude, I said, men wrote the Bible. I don't care if they said it was inspired by God. It was written and printed by a man. And I haven't met any man on the face of this earth that I trust enough to give me the undeniable truth.
Yep.
Nobody. Somebody printed that book, bro. That book didn't grow out of the ground.
Yep. Yeah. And I have one. I have one in there, and I've read through it. Revelation.
I have the cross tattooed on me. I mean, I'm just not going to play by anybody's rules I'm not. That's why I don't fit in the groups. People will say, well, real patriots think this way. You're not going to tell me if I'm a real patriot or not either. Exactly. You can, but that doesn't do anything for me.
Nope. when fear and shame and intimidation are used to get you to identify with a certain group, that's not the direction I'm going.
No,
because I'm not being corralled into a certain group. Now that person that's doing that might be one of the infiltrators in that group.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean that everybody else that kind of identifies with each other in that group is like that, but that's that person that, like religion in general, everything has been infiltrated. Not just religion,
Yep.
religion, government systems, and a lot of things have been changed throughout history to indoctrinate and manipulate people. So everything's been infiltrated, and a lot of good things aren't what they appear to be.
That's exactly right. Everything has been infiltrated. The church has been infiltrated too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Don't get me started on the Catholic Church. Nothing against Catholic people, because most everything that's been weaponized or infiltrated is full of good people that have good intentions. But the higher you go up the ladder, the worse it gets, because psychopaths in the system that we've lived in for thousands of years now rise to the top of power and control. And then they manipulate. They manipulate. So.
Look out for the psychopath. There are psychopaths in every industry under the sun. Yeah. That's why I don't join organizations or groups, because I don't have time for that.
Yeah. Yep. So, well, I'm glad that you have the opportunity to do your own thing, and you're successful with that, man. That's one thing I admire. A lot of people can't do that.
Man, it's an honor to come across somebody like yourself. Like, we think on so many, we think on a very similar level.
We are on the same wavelength, and maybe that's one like kind of a narcissistic trait I have. I think I like you so much because you're like me.
Yeah, me too. That's exactly it.
I'm like, man, I really like this dude. He really thinks like I do. Is that what does that say about me? But I don't know. I don't care. But we're definitely on the same wavelength, and our brains operate very similarly.
Be free, man. We don't want anybody. I'm all for government, but I'm all for government making sure that nobody infringes upon my freedom.
Yeah,
my freedom of choice in any regards. That's the role of government in my mind. Don't come over here trying to tell me how I should live my life. Don't tell me what type of drugs I should shoot into my veins with a needle. Don't come over here telling me how I should pray or if I should pray, or don't do that. That's what we're going to have a problem.
Yeah, one way, complete freedom, not one way or the other. You need to do this. You need to do this. You need to be a free person and make your own decisions and live a free life, as long as you are not enslaving anyone, entrapping anyone, stealing from them, harming them. Just as long as you go by these certain guidelines where you're not negatively affecting someone else's life for your own personal gain, that's the government that we need, is to look after those type of situations, and it stops there.
And it stops there. All this other stuff, this is weird. I perceive it as demonic. All of that other stuff with the government trying to do this and tell you how to live, and that's demonic. Stay out of my life. Democrats, stop sending me mail. I'm not a Democrat. Don't send me no mail at all. You're wasting your money. You're wasting your money. Don't everybody that's in a religion, stop trying to convert me. You're wasting your breath. You're better off going and give CPR to a dead body, because I'm not converting. Stop wasting your time. You know what I'm saying?
That's one more thing that was infiltrated, because so some of the people I admire the most were Democrats. John F. Kennedy, Democrat.
Yeah, I got a John F. Kennedy hat up there.
President Trump was a Democrat his entire life.
Yep.
I don't know.
I was too.
I never really identified as one or the other. I registered a couple different ways, certain times for certain things, but I registered as an independent. I can't vote anymore, so I don't even. Yeah, that's going back to that other story. But yeah, I don't identify one way or the other. But the other guy who was a Democrat his entire life was General Michael Flynn, and everybody tries to say that Trump and General Flynn are these right-wing or alt-right people, and they're not. They were Democrats. And
I'm alt. I say I'm alt center.
objective observer. Period.
Yeah.
Don't,
Period. There you go.
The left and the right are, how does the old Native American saying, the left wing and the right wing of the bird keep the same, I don't know, I'm messing that one up. Just look at the meme. But they're basically saying that the left and the right are used to keep fighting each other. And keep
I love that.
And when you think objectively, some things make sense on both sides. You know, like one of the things that I talk about that pisses off a lot of the quote conservative people, or I say healthcare. There are enough resources and enough wealth to not let anybody die that goes to a hospital. I mean, people are going to die. That's part of life. But if somebody goes to the hospital and they're like, I have this life-threatening illness, and they're like, you've exceeded your catastrophic cap for your insurance, and I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do for you. You just got to check out. But I
don't agree with that. I don't agree with just I agree with you. I don't agree with just letting, it's enough resources for everybody with healthcare. Like, we need to, just because it comes from the left doesn't mean we shouldn't adopt it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And
another thing that's controversial, a lot of conservatives don't like when I say, I don't care. It's not my prerogative if a woman have an abortion or not. I'm not interested in that.
That's one of the things too that I don't want to say.
I don't care. I mean, that's it. If you, because here's how I look at it. Beyond abortion, right? Let's just say you're against abortion, which means you're for the baby growing up and becoming a human being, and then later on in life, that baby is, let's just say, ends up on death row or ends up being a criminal or whatever. In that same breath, you would be for taking that person's life who used to be a baby. An adult is just somebody that used to be a baby. So I'm not for or against abortion, if that makes sense. I'm not a woman. I don't have an opinion on it. I just know that as a man, if you don't want to have a baby, don't have sex or wear rubber.
It's a tough thing for me because I do believe that
rape people.
I want to process what I'm going to say before I say it. It's one of the issues that's kind of a conundrum for me because I don't think people should use abortion as health care.
No.
It shouldn't be something that's just used to just go, okay, well, that's going to happen. I'm going to boom, get rid of this kid. Because there needs to be some kind of responsibility.
Yeah. I think everybody, I mean, it's simple. Like, I'm going to tell you the crazy part. I had a kid that I wasn't ready for because I was of the mindset of that God didn't want me to have a kid, I wouldn't have a kid. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, I should have just not had sex, But we all want to do it at some point.
Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, when you're growing up, you're just like, man, I'm ready. I think people should start buying blow up dolls, man. Like, seriously, because if you're a woman should have an arsenal of dildos, and then a man should have an arsenal of blow up dolls, and you work on that until you get bored with it, and then you just consciously decide, hey, I want to go interact with a real human being now, and this is the person that I probably want to have a kid with. I would have done that, but I wasn't in my right mind. I wasn't smart then.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a scientific way to look at it. Me personally, I'm not humping a blow-up doll, but
if I was 21, right? If I was, let's say, which I'm glad I have my kids, don't get me wrong. I love my boys. I have two amazing boys. But I'm saying, like, if I was in another light, let's say if I was born again, I would get a blow-up doll before I went the route that I went.
And take on that responsibility that you weren't quite prepared for.
If I really wasn't ready, like you're a guy, so you come up in a time where it was just a game to get women. You wasn't really. I mean, at least my crew I ran with, we was just like, it was just fun to go out and chase girls, or and so I'm getting myself in hot water. I can feel it.
That's right. Hey,
But anyway,
you're being real.
I'm being real.
I would
it is what
rather somebody tell me the truth and be real, and other people might get uncomfortable.
But I think a blow up doll is better than abortion, and it's better than raping somebody. I don't understand. I never understood a man that could rape somebody. First of all, like how are you aggressive with a hard on?
How does that even happen? That's another one of those things that's got to stem from some kind of torture, some kind of abuse.
You're like, I don't understand that. Rape is never the woman's fault, in my opinion. So that's why, even if a woman is drunk and unconscious, that's no excuse to. You're a grown man. There's no excuse to do that to a woman. But my thing is, the man that is like, in my mind, a person that rapes somebody is obviously are they angry at the time they're doing it? And how do you have a Woody when they're
broken somehow?
Yeah, exactly.
Something broke in their brain from past experience, or
somebody said the blow up doll was weird, but I'm just saying, it's gonna be a thing either way.
I mean, it doesn't appeal to me either, but I mean, there's okay, what we're doing right now is brainstorming. We're just throwing out different ideas about different things. And so I used to teach animation. I taught animation to 4th grade through 12th grade. And part of the process in getting the kids to figure out what their story was going to be about, to come up with their timeline, is just to throw ideas back and forth. And maybe every idea might not stick or it might not resonate with everybody, but you just throw it out there, and it's part of the brainstorming process, just something to process in your head. You don't have to agree with it or disagree with it or shame somebody for it.
Exactly.
Just throw ideas out there, and it is what it is.
We live in a world now we can't even brainstorm. They'll find that clip of me saying the blow up doll. They'll clip that and be like, Robbie loves blow up dolls. I've never been with a blow up doll. Don't have a desire to be with one, but I'm just saying, as a horny teenager, that is a better alternative than to go and insert yourself into a woman who submits or doesn't submit. That's a better alternative, in my opinion, because you're going to end up having a child or a disease, and both of them are hard to take care of at that age,
and take on a responsibility that you were not ready.
I've never been the man. I've never in my life pleasured myself, so I don't know what that feels like. I don't even understand that concept.
Well, you were in the 0.001% with that.
Yeah, I've never in my life.
Well, I hate saying this because that's another thing that they'll probably take this clip of and be like,
somebody said try lotion.
But you're an attractive guy. You probably never had a hard time finding a woman, and you have a good personality. You can connect, and you never had that issue. Some people, it's impossible for them to find a woman. I'm in the same boat as you. I've never really had an issue with that.
Yeah, but I know people that. Where are we going with this ridiculousness?
We're talking. If y'all don't like this conversation, this is just. I know guys having a conversation about random stuff, and
I know guys that they've never had problem getting women, and they still do that. I'm like, I thought when I was growing up, I thought it was a joke when people say they did it, and I'm like. I thought it was a joke, but when I found out it was a real thing, I was like, what the
no, I'd say 99.9 something percent of the, you're in a very.
I've never watched porn.
You deserve a trophy.
I just don't get it. I just don't get it, man. I just don't understand it.
What are some of our comments saying here? I'm curious. It's all. I haven't. This is the first time I've looked at the comments. It's all good. I just didn't know we were doing what Chinese buffet topics. What? You guys still do it. Somebody said you're not human.
I just never understood the whole concept of. I just don't understand it. Like, what?
Fair enough.
I know this is my hand. I cannot imagine. I have a vivid imagination, and I cannot imagine strong enough that this is something else besides my hand. I know it's mine. I know 100%. I don't care how much lube, lotion, whatever.
You can hear my girlfriend over here laughing right now. She's just,
I don't get it.
Fair enough. She's over there giggling like
I just don't understand. I mean, I asked my friends. My friends thought I was lying about it for a while, but yeah, that's a whole nother subject. But to me, it's just easier. Somebody said you should try it. Just use the flash. You're not human. He said, somebody says, yep, he's got a doll. Love you guys being real. I don't have a doll. I swear, I'm just not that into it. It's just
everybody's allowed to make their own decisions and do things or not do things with their own life. That's it's exactly what we were talking about.
I can't imagine my wife leaving and like peeping out the windows, like, all right, she's gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I going to do that for?
Here, somebody said, Jennifer Schwab says they've done studies that show porn changes your brain. It's very addictive as well. People should experience real people. Skip the porn. Huh?
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. 1,000%. There's nothing attractive about my hand at all. First of all, it feels like a brick. Like these, I used to work out a lot. I don't work out that much anymore, but my hand and my family, I come from a bloodline of hard hands. So like my hands are hard. I know this is a crazy subject. Anyway, this is a nice day outside in Georgia.
Let's talk about the weather. No, it's just this. I like this type of conversation better than one that is focused on a certain agenda or a certain topic. This is just two people talking about random things that come up. I don't have a script. There's no piece of paper laying by me. We just decided, hey, let's do an interview. Let's talk about some stuff.
That's what I like too.
People lose interest because we're not talking about world-changing events. That's okay. They don't have to be part of this conversation. I talk about really, really deep topics all the time, and sometimes this is what I need. Just talk, Me personally, just have a conversation with a buddy.
I think whacking off is a very important subject. To me, that's a part of self-control. I'm all about self-mastery. So it's like, how can I stop myself? How can I control myself more? And I would probably have I told my wife this, I'm gonna be with my wife forever. That's how I feel. Like my wife I never met somebody that was as perfectly fine-tuned for me as my wife. Like we are almost the same person. But I've told my wife, like, I have no problem becoming an old hermit crab Buddhist monk that grows a long beard and just sits in the mountain by itself. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just that guy. I love breathing. I'm addicted to breathing and living and just natural things. When I was younger, I was wild. I didn't really think highly of myself when I was younger.
Well, you were going through the different things that you needed to go through to become the person you are right now.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't start really, like I always thought I was kind of special, but when I met my wife reflected back to me how I really felt deep down inside. Like she was the one that came in and said, you know, I love you unconditionally. Like nobody had ever expressed that to me. So like when I turned like 26, 27, that's when I really found myself. Like, oh man, I don't have to do drugs. I don't have to drink. I don't have to smoke. I don't have to, you know, like I was just always, value myself. But at one point I didn't. It's weird because at one point I didn't really value myself that much. I just thought I was a loser. But deep down inside, I knew that I wasn't a loser, but I just lived as if I was a loser, you know?
And then you learn to love yourself.
And I love to love myself, yeah.
And you could love your wife the way that you love her now. It sounds like you guys, now I don't use a lot of the spiritual terminology all the time, but there might be a thing where people are twin flames. And
I think she is.
See, she's your twin flame.
Yeah, she's just like a natural. My wife is like we were talking the other day. I'm like, yo, you know, you're my best friend. Like if I don't talk to you about things that are important to me on a deep level, I don't have anybody else I feel comfortable talking to. So I appreciate that you are always willing to talk to me about things. Like my wife is an angel. She's special. Like that woman is just special. And it took me a while to realize that. You know, sometimes men are hard-headed.
Yeah,
but my wife is like special. I think my wife is an alien, bro. Because she is so special, man. Like she is just.
Well, one of my she could be, you know, like what's called a star seed. Are you familiar with her?
Yeah, she is. I think she is. Like I you know, like I said, you know, it took me. I had to appreciate myself before I could appreciate her.
That's how it works.
But that's it. It was like, and loving myself. A lot of people, when they hear loving yourself, they probably think of like, oh my God, like I'm so obsessed with myself.
Not even close to what that means.
No, there's just, it's just a natural respect for yourself. Like, damn, I genuinely appreciate who I am as an individual.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like I can look at you, a man, Michael, and say, I appreciate you as an individual, Michael. You know, that's what self-love allows you to do, in my opinion.
Because you're not living in fear or intimidation or any of that. You're secure with yourself.
Yes, sir.
It's so many people are insecure, and I'm not saying I'm perfect or I've got the answer to everything, but that is a big part of society growing, is people learning to love themselves, be secure with themselves, appreciate themselves, because that literally is the foundation to loving other people and appreciating other people for who they are. It's that's it. That's the answer.
If this is why I say the government doesn't really care about you, because I think the government cares about now I know there are people in the government that cares about people, but when it comes to the entity of the government itself, they only care really about their agenda. So like if they really cared about you, when you went to first grade, right, they would teach you things about self-love, how to love people beyond their skin color. Maybe third grade would be about how to focus on your dreams, how to create your dreams, how to go after your dreams, how to be a kind person in the fourth grade. Okay, fourth grade is all about being a kind person. Fifth grade is all about loving thy neighbor. Or, you know, like those are the and I know they say, well, you should do that at home. Okay, well, cool. I understand that. But your kid is at school more than they are at home.
Yeah.
Your kid is at school 8 hours a day.
Yep.
Yeah, when they get home, they got to do homework and then you eat and you go and they go to.
So when do you have time to go through all that at home? It's everything is, your entire day is consumed, and you're being pumped information about history, which a lot of it we've learned now isn't true. And then we're relearning everything correctly about history.
See, we brought this conversation back around. We went off topic a little bit, but we brought it back around.
we're allowed to do that, man. We're allowed to talk about whatever we want. This is our live stream, and if people want to be part of it, and if they feel uncomfortable or weird or something, okay, check out, come back later.
I would like to have a mind mapping session with you on live about online business, because I know you do that as well.
Yeah, I've been doing that for.
I love talking. Huh?
I've been doing that for 10 years now.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
I
would love to talk about some ideas about that too, because I do that as well.
Okay, yeah. No, I'd be happy to talk about that. If I don't say so myself, I'm pretty good at it, at the strategy and what to do and not to do and stuff. But it's been an uphill battle for the last 3 years going through this targeting thing that I go through, because that's one of the things that they target is my business. But yeah, I actually so I'm a picker, like that show, American Pickers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, hey, we got cash. You got junk? So I'm kind of like that in a roundabout way, but I go to auctions, I go to the swap meet, I go to garage sales, I buy storage units, just like Storage Wars, and I do what's called triage, what I call triage, and I separate the things into different avenues, where it should go: online, to a local auction, Craigslist, OfferUp.
I went to a garage sale yesterday, bro.
Oh, they're great. Not just because you can find some little treasure, but you can meet somebody that you never would have met before at the garage sale. That's an interesting person, and you might not find anything there that you want to buy, but you spend a half an hour or an hour talking to that person and learning some new information that you never knew, or meeting a new friend, or stuff. That's part of the whole journey for me.
Yep.
I've met some of the most amazing people doing what I've done over the years, and learning new information from the things I've found. But yeah, the business, actually, just buying. I'm more of an expert with antiques and collectibles, antique furniture, photographs, a lot of different categories. I got into selling the hats because I realized the profit margin. If I could find large amounts of used hats, a lot of them are new, they still have tags on them and stuff, but I find different avenues to acquire all of these hats. I can pay $1 for a hat, and then I list them for $20, because a new hat now is $35, $40 if you go to Lids, and buy like one of these like this. And then people can make offers, and I'll sell it for 10 or 15 bucks, but there's still a good profit margin, and I can make enough to live comfortably, but still give somebody a good deal, and they can find something that they can no longer find in the store. So there's a benefit. Right. And 4 years ago, before I got hit with this big wave of targeting, we grossed $126,000 on eBay, phenomenal. Just doing hats. Of course, that's not net with, there's a lot of expense and different things, so taxes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was enough to have an employee and pay all the bills and go out to dinner every once in a while, and just survive. And but yeah, there's a lot of different things that you can do that with. I've made YouTube videos about how to do what I do, or with whatever item interests you, whatever your hobby is or your passion is, to turn that into your living instead of going to check in at the cubicle every day.
That's the beauty of all this. Like, you can do so much out there, like to make sure that you thrive and still have the free time you want.
Yep. You do coding, like websites and stuff like that, or what?
Yes. Yeah, we build software, we build apps, we build websites, we do marketing, we do all kind of stuff.
That's awesome. How'd you get into that? Is that something you taught yourself, or?
Self-taught, man. Self-taught. So I started in, I want to say 2007.
Mm-hmm.
This is when like you could find anything you wanted to on the internet, and I would get lost on the internet all day long, just trying to learn things. I thought that the internet was going to be huge, and I was right.
Yeah.
it was already huge at the time, I think, but I think YouTube had just really came along like 2007 or something like that. And I just dove into it, man. I would watch videos, I would do research, I would read ebooks, I would just consume everything possible, because at the time I was doing music, I was rapping, and I wanted to get my music outside of my city. And so I just wanted to learn how to build a website that would allow me to sell my music on it. Man, that's what I did. I learned how to do it for myself, put my music out there, start attracting people from different places. And then once I stopped doing music, I just kept my love for the internet and just started doing it for other people. So it grew from there.
Yeah, it sounds like your music brought you to a need, and you figured out how to do that. And then you were like, wait a minute, I think I did pretty good with that. Maybe I should keep looking into this, and then building on that.
Yeah,
same thing with my businesses. You know, it wasn't something I went to a college course. They taught me the specific way to do something and how to think and everything. I just DIY. That's what I.
Yeah, that's it. I love doing it yourself. Yeah, I love figuring it out.
I call it getting YouTube certified.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. You got a YouTube university degree.
Everybody's got something that they've done. When I need to work on my truck, I don't, my dad wasn't around to teach me how to work on my car. I had to learn how to do things on my own. So now as an adult, I can't afford to go take it to, a certain place to get it fixed. I get on YouTube and somebody's there that says, okay, here's step-by-step how you do this. Right?
Yeah.
Figure that out. And next thing you know, hey, I know how to change the front end on a Chevy 1500 or whatever. And I can teach somebody else to do that. Yeah. So that's one of the great things about the internet. It's a double-edged sword. There's a lot of terrible things that are out there on the internet, but there's a lot of good things. So it's all about kind of what you gravitate towards and let it go positively. So,
censorship is a big thing right now on the internet, but I mean, there's ways around it. Like there's certain things, if you talk about, you might get censored. So don't talk about those things on those platforms. It's just like record it in MP3 like the old school days, and then save it on your computer and then upload it to your website.
I do the opposite. I talk about anything and everything I want, and if they censor me, I'm getting censored right now. I made a video yesterday. Well, I've been censored on YouTube, and if I wasn't censored, I'd probably have like 100,000 subscribers.
Wow.
Close to 10. I know that I'm censored. I've had videos deleted recently on TikTok. And I've realized recently that I'll have a video that I put out, and it'll get like this one I did yesterday. I talked about how masks work. When I worked for the fire department, I wore an SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus. I was the technician that maintained the self-contained breathing apparatus for everybody in my fire department. I took them apart, put them back together, and their lives were in my hands for working on their breathing apparatus. If it didn't work, they could breathe in some kind of chemical that we'd work with all the time. I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to say what that chemical was. Anyway, there's certain chemicals that if we would have breathed it in, we'd die. 7 parts per million would kill you. So I was in charge of that. I also worked in something called CBRNE, which is chemical, biological, radioactive, nuclear, and explosive training. And we would wear what's called MOP gear. So that's something that's pretty common in the military. You learn about CBRNE and you wear MOP gear. So I know about masks. I talked about the regular masks, the medical masks that people wear.
Yeah.
The particulate matter that will travel through that, what that mask will protect you from is a size 3 particulate matter. A virus is 0.3. Go right through that mask. They're completely useless. So I talked about that on TikTok, and that video got 40,000 views in like 2 hours. Boom, it was going nuts. And then all of a sudden, it's like somebody pulled the emergency brake. It stopped getting views. It stopped getting likes. And in my experience before, if I had videos that were doing that, they keep going up. I have a video that's over, like 700,000 views where I talked about General Flynn and different stuff like that. And that's how that video started out, but it kept going. So I've had some recently that it's obvious they're just pulling the brakes on that. I'm like, damn, I know they're censoring this. You know, they don't want people to hear this reality. So, but I just go for it. If they delete my channel, YouTube's deleted 8,000 channels this year.
I know, that's crazy.
The map, and a lot of them were my favorite. There were 16 channels specifically that I subscribed to. I know some of these people personally. And they deleted their channels off the face of the map because they were providing the truth to people. But if we succumb to the censorship and we just say, oh, well, they told us not to talk about that, then they win and we just stay silenced. So we have to prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that censorship is happening, and that's the only way that.
I think if they start losing content creators, they'll get their shit in order. They'll be like, okay, if we lose enough content creators, you know, back in the day, it was all about building your own website.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people couldn't mess with you. You know, you had your own platform. Now,
yep.
I knew it was going to come a day when people relied too much on social media, because at first social media is like whatever goes. But as soon as they start getting a lot of users, they start to get the big head. Yep. And their philosophy starts to change.
Yep.
And they start censoring people. I knew it was going. It's the way humans work. It's the. Hold on one second. Somebody's at my door. Hold on.
Okay. All right, everybody. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in to our live stream here. If you're not on TikTok, you know, some people don't like TikTok. They have a bad perception about it. There's a lot of good information, a lot of interesting people, a lot of citizen journalists, citizen investigator, digital soldier type of people that are on TikTok. There's some nonsense on there. We have to kind of scroll through, make your way through that. But there are a lot of good people on there.
Hey, I have to go. I got somebody here that's about to meet me for something. So.
No problem at all, man. This is, we've already been here doing this an hour or so. But I'll let you go. Right. Thank you for doing this live stream with me. I'll see you on TikTok on a live stream.
All right, let's catch up, man.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. So again, thank you. Wait, what happened to my live stream over here? Oh, my live stream ended? What? Well, that's weird. My live stream ended on TikTok, right when I was talking good about TikTok. Not sure what happened with that.
It looks like you're still on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. It says go live.
Yeah.
Weird. Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
I'm
What?
still listening. I just got my volume down.
What in the world? Okay, well, that's weird. Not gonna believe this is live streaming.
You see?
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. The possibly, and I'm not going to say 100% for sure or not, but I talked to John D'Souza last night, and he responded to me and said that he would do an interview with me. So there's some things I want to talk about. I want to help him promote the most recent documentary that he was in called 1,000 Pieces about the deep state, CIA, MK Ultra, mind control, different stuff like that. He's not an expert on the targeted individual situation, but he knows some of us. The person I met him with is a targeted individual, and we should be doing an interview coming up sometime soon. So hopefully that's my next interview. But so if you guys don't follow me on TikTok, my channel is called You're Not Gonna Believe This. Gonna, not spelled correctly, Gonna. You're Not Gonna Believe This. I don't think I have a link on my website. So, but you know what? He said something that is a good idea for people to look into doing, or take the effort to go to people's personal websites. I have one. I use social media a lot to do these interviews and stuff like that. But we should really learn to start visiting people's standalone websites, and then there's zero censorship. We can talk about whatever we want, and yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. We were all over the place, but I knew it was going to be like that. He's a free-thinking guy. I'm a free-thinking guy, and I think sometimes interviews that just kind of go all over the place are better. You're not focused on a specific topic or a specific agenda or anything. It's just free speak. So I had fun doing that. Hopefully we'll do another show. He had to run. He's got a business. It might have been an appointment he had or something like that. Hey, there's a great comment. 5 eBay executives went to prison for gang stalking. So, hey, are people that saying they're being gang stalked delusional or schizophrenic? Doesn't look like it. 5 people were just convicted of that. So that's a great that's great news. If you somebody's saying they want to do an interview with me, if you do, I pick and choose people that I talk with a lot. A lot of them don't approach me. I approach them. It's kind of what I've had to do, but you need to have some kind of material to vet yourself other than just telling me, hey, you're a this or that. You're going to need some YouTube videos, some kind of content, putting yourself out there, showing your face, saying who you are, explaining what you've been through. So I'm not just talking to a nameless, faceless person making claims. Not to say that what you're saying isn't true, but I have to be very careful with that. And I just need to know that you're willing to put yourself out there, or that you already have taken the effort to do that. And I'm not just going to jump into something blindly and then get blindsided by somebody trying to infiltrate or just mess up my live stream, what I'm doing. So, all right, everybody, I'm going to go. It's time for breakfast, lunch, whatever you want to call it, whatever time it is right now. So thanks again for being here. And I will talk to you soon. Oh, like and subscribe. I always forget to say that. Like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, all that good stuff. Thanks. Have a good day.